Hello everybody, my name is Kieran from The Checkpoint, the only gaming channel that is entirely based inside a giant peach. And today I'm going to be talking about the RuneScape Legacy Beta, and quite frankly, why I'm not going to be playing it. Now, the gameplay thing in the background, by the way, it's not that exciting, it's just me getting my mining level up on my work in progress account. If you haven't checked out that series yet, I'd highly advise you do. I'd really appreciate that if you support that series. I'll put a link down to it in the description. But anyway, we're talking about the Legacy Beta, and I'm going to give you a few reasons why I'm not going to be playing it, because, as you guys know, about a couple of years ago now, RuneScape updated their game where they completely changed how combat works. And it wasn't just combat, it was kind of like how all the stats of different gears works, like all the defense bonuses and all that kind of stuff, how that all changed, how healing works in terms of your food, and just a bunch of stuff that made the game feel so much different. And I didn't like that at all. You know, it introduced abilities as well, which made it even more different. And to me, it just didn't feel like the RuneScape that I used to enjoy. It felt like a completely different game. If anything, it felt more like League of Legends than it did RuneScape. And RuneScape is a game which I obviously enjoy in 2007 for its simplicity. That's why I'm playing old school. And by simplicity, I don't mean, oh, you just do this. It's obviously there's a wide variety of things to do, because it's RuneScape. You can do basically anything you want. But it just comes to that point where it's so simple, you just enjoy it, if that makes any sense whatsoever. Whereas in RuneScape 3 that they have now, it's kind of like all kind of saturated with all these prized possessions that now everyone seems to have. You know, once the rarest item in the game is suddenly something that everyone now has, it's so kind of saturated with just the economy itself is saturated with all this money everyone seems to have plucked out of nowhere. And I think that is kind of Jagex's own doing. I mean, with the introduction of the Square of Fortune and bonds and all that kind of thing, it just really just slows the game down in terms of, you know, it doesn't feel like anyone has any more goals anymore, because you can just gain money and XP so easily that it just doesn't feel worth anything. And that's kind of the main thing I didn't like about it. It wasn't so much the combat, it was just kind of the worthlessness that everything felt. Like, you know, I went from praying that one day I'd get full myth to having full panics and, you know, a Zarite bow and everything that I do have in RuneScape 3. Now, I have obviously a lot of stuff and a very, very rich account, but I just don't enjoy using it. Everything just feels so, I said saturated before, but there isn't really another word to describe it. It's kind of like, oh, here's something new, but it's not really going to be worth anything, because everyone has money now. Everyone can get money easily because of bonds and the Square of Fortune. You know, someone could just log on, they haven't played RuneScape for like, I don't know, 5 years, just log on, get 200 mil on the Square of Fortune, log off. And I don't like that at all. RuneScape's game, I mean, when it comes to most video games, I do not mind microtransactions. Obviously, you get it a lot on like FPS, such as Call of Duty. But when it comes to RuneScape, it's really that kind of game where microtransactions really don't work. I mean, especially in a game where it puts you at such a major advantage in terms of being able to spend money to gain more GP in game, it does not feel right at all. It's kind of like spending money to get higher KD and COD. It's not right, in my opinion. Also, I kind of really don't like the kind of how U-turn Jagex have done in terms of that they didn't really listen to the community. Obviously, a lot of people didn't like the evolution of combat. Obviously, they've released a beta to test it out, and they didn't really listen to that, and they just introduced it anyway, and that's why RuneScape lost a lot of its following. I mean, they did regain some of that through the introduction of old school RuneScape, and I think old school RuneScape is the saving grace. I mean, if you're forced to reintroduce a game that was released 7 years ago, then you know the current version of the game, you know, isn't in the best shape. And it's really why I prefer old school RuneScape, because everything has kind of has a feel to it. You know, all the prized items actually feel prized. You know, in this game, it's difficult to get full bandos. You know, it's expensive, and money in this game is harder to achieve. You know, in 1 hour, I could probably get 2 or 3 mil in RuneScape 3, whereas in an hour, I could barely get 300k if I tried, and that's with full attention. And if you know me, I don't really pay full attention to much. But so yeah, just things like that. It just gives you more motivation to play the game when you know you have this big goal that is difficult to achieve. Whereas in RuneScape 3, if you had a goal, you could just log on to this Wheel of Fortune, get some XP from it, and just log off. And that's not really how I want to complete goals. And because of how everyone else could benefit from that as well, it just didn't feel like that goal was worth making, in if that makes any sense whatsoever. Whereas Oscar RuneScape, no, I'm playing along nicely. I'm doing some mining, as you can see in this video. Because it's just little goals that I like to set myself. Whereas in RuneScape 3, it's like, oh, I can't really be bothered to do that. It just doesn't feel worth it to me. And I kind of haven't been following the whole kind of quote storyline of RuneScape. I know there is kind of like a storyline of sorts to do with Gothics and all that kind of jazz, but I'm really not too interested in that kind of thing. I mean, I play RuneScape, and I'm sure most people do play RuneScape for just the motivation to get better at something and to get higher at something. There's not really a point where you have completed RuneScape. There's always something to do. I mean, that might have actually been RuneScape 3's downfall, in that kind of people have done everything there is to be done. And if you completed RuneScape, then stop playing it, you know. I'd rather everyone just reach a goal and then go play a different game, because when you start introducing lots and lots of new things into a game, it just becomes so saturated and so complex. And that's what RuneScape doesn't want to be. RuneScape needs to be the game that it was in 2007, hence why a lot of people play old school RuneScape, is because it kind of had everything, but not that much, if that makes any sense. It's kind of like, it's a big complex world, but in the same way, it's kind of like a small place, and you've got everything you need. There's a limited way to get things. Everyone has to do it in the same way. It's a much more simpler way to play the game, and a lot of people enjoy it more, rather than RuneScape 3, where like, oh look, we've introduced a big new armor, and there's a big new armor, there's like different versions released like every month, which I just didn't like at all. I mean, like all this, like, I logged on to RuneScape 3 the other day. I had like full Tetsu. What even is that? Like, I bought it. I didn't even know what it was. I don't even remember buying it. There's just so much. You know, if you go onto old school RuneScape today and look at all your defense, there's only like 4 or 5 like decent armors that you can get. It really just keeps the simplicity of the game. And I don't like games, especially in kind of like when you play PvP in old school RuneScape. There's a limited number of things that people can use. So that means whether you get that kill in PvP or not, it's really determined to kind of your, I hate to say reflexes, because it's not obviously your reflexes, it's kind of, you know, just your reactions, you know, knowing when to heal, because you will kind of know when someone is using a certain type of weapon, whereas in RuneScape 3, there's all these abilities that just complicate it to the max, and I'm not going to lie, it doesn't look that great. I mean, obviously the graphics are improved in RuneScape 3, I'll give you that, that's a great improvement to the game, but all the kind of abilities just give it a really complex feel to it. And if you look at the kind of the interface of old school RuneScape, which you can see right now, it's just got a really nice, user-friendly, kind of simple look to it. Whereas RuneScape 3, no, it's got all these different kind of bars on the interface, all these different kind of stat things you can look at, and I don't even know what half of them do anymore, to be honest. Which is why I guess a lot of people have gone back to old school RuneScape. Maybe it's for the nostalgia. For me, it's not for the nostalgia at all, because I guess I have been playing RuneScape for 9 years, but I obviously played what was RuneScape 3 or RuneScape 2 before they updated it. And when there was an update, I enjoyed that update. Up until the point of about 2012, I enjoyed every update they released, but then it got to a point where everything just started to kind of fade away, and it just felt worthless. Obviously, I've said that a lot of times before, but again, things in old school RuneScape just seem more worth it to achieve, whereas RuneScape 3, no, it doesn't interest me as well. And changing the combat really doesn't fix those issues. I mean, you know, as I said, the combat wasn't something I minded that much. You know, I could have got used to it, but again, the ability for players to just spend, you know, £50 and suddenly get all the best armor in the game, it kind of just makes everything you want to do feel worthless. And it's really something I didn't like about the game, and it's something I don't like about the game, which is why I played old school RuneScape. That's pretty much all I wanted to say on the matter. I will be continuing playing old school RuneScape for the foreseeable future, and not RuneScape 3. So that means I will be continuing, obviously, my work in progress videos for, again, the foreseeable future, because I really enjoy playing it, I really enjoy making the videos, and it's all a good time, and I enjoy setting myself little goals obviously I don't set myself a major goal. I just set myself small goals, achieve them one at a time, and then obviously gradually get better at the game, get better. Apologies, guys. The recording did just cut off there, but as I was saying, RuneScape's one of those games where you just want to level up and kind of just get better at the game, get better skills, and that's kind of the whole point of the game. And if those goals you set yourself just feel worthless, then there's no point playing the game, because you don't play the game for its action. You play the game to slowly level up and grind and get those levels and reach the goals that you've set. If that goal's worthless, what's the point of completing the goal? That's just how I feel about it. So yeah, expect lots of old school RuneScape videos, lots of guides. I really enjoy making the guides as well as the work in progress videos, and I'll try and think of some maybe another series I can introduce into the mix, or maybe I could kind of integrate that with the work in progress videos. But yeah, thank you for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. If you have any thoughts, anyone who's watching this, if you have any thoughts on the matter of whether you play RuneScape 3, want to play Legacy, want to play old school RuneScape, whatever you play, let me know about your thoughts on this in the comment section down below. So yeah, thank you for watching, guys. Follow us on Twitter @RealCheckpoint. Like the video if you did. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll talk to you guys soon.